This is the B-Side Pride of West London podcast coming to you from Turf Moor, Burnley, where unfortunately it has finished Burnley 2, Brentford 1. In a game that we dubbed as a must-not-lose fixture, Brentford have come here and lost. It is another kick in the nuts for Brentford's travelling fans. Awful start to this game where Sergio Reguilon was adjudged to have fouled in the penalty area. Not only would the VAR give it as a penalty, it was given as a red card. From that stage, Brentford were down to 10 men and the odds were stacked against us. It was a really galling afternoon, a frustrating afternoon. Referee, once again, he seemed to give us absolutely nothing, and even right at the end where it looked like that we've equalised, he's adjudged a foul on the penalty line, on the goal line, which didn't look like a foul, and Brentford have had a goal ruled out, and I'm clutching at straws ever so slightly because you come to Burnley, who have been down on their knees all season, and you expect us to perform. It seemed that we've been kneecapped from the start, really. Sergio Reguilon, only he will know the magnitude of the foul. It was either a penalty or it wasn't. I don't think it was a penalty and a sending off. The double jeopardy was really odd. Brighton Bumo came on second half. It was a bit of a plus point, but he made a bit of a difference. We scored after he came on. What did you make of that?
Just come back to me in a minute, Dave, because I mean, there's a lot to take out of that game. The first thing is we had a mountain to climb when Reguilon got sent off. The lad, he's obviously a young lad. He needs to have a long, hard look at himself after that, because he has basically put us in the shit there. I would say that defeat is on Reguilon's head. From what I've heard, it was a ridiculous challenge, no chance of winning it. You can't do that. You can't survive for like 95 minutes with 10 men against 12. And once again, I come back to the refereeing decisions. The refs in this division are a fucking disgrace. I don't care what anyone says. Any of the apologists can do what they like, but the refereeing is appalling. Nothing wrong with that goal at the end there that I could see from the sidelines here. Maybe it'd be different on telly, but also I'd like to see a bit more. There's a bit more desire from certain players who I'm not going to name because I never would do that. I'd also like to hear from Thomas, who I obviously know quite well and I respect as a manager, but for him to come up at half time and look quite angry with the fans, quite agitated with the fans, many of whom have travelled like 6 hours here and back to get back to London. I thought that was a bit out of order, to be honest, but maybe he'll have a response to that. Equally, the people who booed at half time, go and support Rangers.
We came here today in a game that we must not lose. We've lost. What did you make of that?
Disappointed to say the least, but surely we must get the rub of the green soon, because everything went against us today. I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty, definitely, but sending off, I'm not sure. But that last 25 minutes gave us hope. We played as a team. We should have got something out of that game. The ref gave us nothing. We worked hard. We were fantastic. But we're going to do it.
I'm sure we are. But what happens is we're coming away from every game at the moment. Every game we're getting at the moment. Every game is a defeat. We're coming away from defeats. And we're trying to clutch at straws. We're trying to look for positives. Are there any positives?
There is positives coming from it, but we just need some confidence. We need that winning feeling back, and there isn't much of it at the moment. But there is positives. We'll be all right.
there's a sense that we'll be all right, but some people say we're sleepwalking into a relegation fight. Some people say there's enough quality about us to be confident that we're not going to be one of the bottom three. The Nottingham Forest and the Luton game, I believe, has finished 1-1. Yeah, so they've taken points out of each other. Burnley are probably gone already. But we were saying on the way up here that it's a game that we must not lose. We've lost this game. So where does that leave us now?
It's difficult, it's tight without a doubt. We did say we must not lose this, but looking at Burnley's performance today, fair play to them, they have won it today. That early sending off clearly changed the whole dynamic, but the last 15-20 minute tactics by Thomas Frank was excellent to see. That power play has a risk with it, but Christ, we nearly got something out of that, and it almost wasn't lose game, but we didn't. We're going to get on with it, but I think we are still better than that bottom three.
We come away from here once again with our tails slightly between our legs. Brentford fans have come in here in numbers today. What did you make of the game?
We tried hard at the end. Everything's gone against us, hasn't it?
We do say that most weeks, don't we?
Yeah, but I've not seen the situation back. I don't know if it was a foul or not. They took all year to decide whether it's a foul or not. If it is, then fair enough, he has to go. But the game fell over after 4 minutes.
So if it's a foul, it's a penalty, is it? I mean, it was never a red card as well, surely.
I don't know how that goes. I was just looking. We tried to get back into it at the end when they were struggling against us when we brought on the subs at the end. Like, they were worried.
They did struggle against us even with 10 men,
exactly.
but we lose the game. So it's really hard to walk away from here with any positives. What do you take from walking out of this game? What do you make?
We were shit. Reguilón let us down.
Reguilón let us down.
Yeah, silly foul at the start of the game, and it's cost the rest of the team, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there is that, and you work out what some people say is going to cost us if we want to buy him, and you work out what his experience is with Tottenham and his Man United pedigree, and he looks a very overvalued player from what we've seen. He's obviously better than having no left back, but if it is a sending off, we have to obviously, we've said a million times before, sometimes the fans inside the stadium are the ones that know the absolute least. So we're walking out of Turf Moor, and I've said this 100 times on this podcast already, in a game that we must not lose, and we've lost. Where does that leave you as a Brentford fan? Where does that leave us as a club?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, coming into this game, 100% similar opinion to you. I thought it's a must not lose, to be honest. And the most worrying thing for me is that it doesn't look like we want it out there. Do you know what I mean? This is a game. We should be going into this 100% full guns blazing, 5 minutes in. Conceded a goal, 10 man. But back to your question, where do we go as a club? I still think we are where we are in the league is where we'd expect to be. We've got a lot of players out, but it's really worrying that we're not picking up points against the teams that are in and around us. That's the worrying thing. And to be honest, forget points deductions for other teams. We can't be relying on that. We've got to get a few more ourselves, frankly, don't we? And at this point, I don't really know where a point or a win's going to come from, and that's the worrying thing. But we're hopeful, aren't we?
We're hopeful. We have to be hopeful. There's no point in crawling back to London now, sort of crying about it. You're right. We can't. On the midweek Pride of West London podcast, we said we can't rely on points deductions. They're obviously going to come. And if we knew the outcome of them, we're probably safe already. The fact is they haven't come and we're not safe already. So we are embroiled in this kind of looking over our shoulder nonsense. We're still, outside. We've still never been in that bottom three. And there's a good chance we never will be. It doesn't make things all right. I'm not trying to put a gloss on this because we've come to Burnley, who have not won this calendar year, and they have today. And they've just like we went to Bramall Lane and Sheffield United beat us, who couldn't buy a fucking win. They got a win. Burnley have got a win. We're going to go back to the car now and be mocked on the way back. We run the gauntlet. Is that? Are you watching a relegated Brentford team there? No, yes or no?
I think the majority of people who aren't Brentford fans that tell me, they think we are absolutely fine, and I think completely opposite. I watch, performances like that against teams in and around us, below us today. What do we give? They wanted it more. Yes, we got a red card, and there's one goal in it, but I think they wanted it more from minute one.
It's a tough one because they obviously smelt a victory there today, and they've set about us in the right way, and they've got an incredible start to the game where they've got a penalty and a sending off, so they're 1-0 up and they're down. We're down to 10 men. It's really hard. I'm not trying to put any kind of spin on this. I'm just talking to Brentford fans as we leave Turf Moor. I will frame the question again. A game that we went into thinking we must not lose, and we've lost.
Yeah, essentially, isn't it? When you start that badly, and initially you think, unluckily, I'll have to watch it back properly, but you feel very, very much hard done by. I don't quite know how they can call that last man when it's not clear and obvious, but it is what it is. And yeah, it is starting to make it a little bit tight down where we are at the moment. I'm not going to pretend that it's not, but we still did more than enough in that game to win it. I think that's the bottom line. We're making substitutions so late, and then we're looking so sprightly, so promising, and you're thinking, why haven't we done this sooner? We're more than better than them. We're making them look good at that point.
I agree there. When we pushed Burnley, they look weak. They look like the bottom three team that they are, but. We played KLP through. He was clean, looked like one-on-one with their goalkeeper. He ran out of legs. I'm expecting more from. I'm not calling KLP out for the reason we lost that, but. He's clean through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he's run out of legs like Morpay did at Chelsea, and then they go literally straight up the other end and score. Again, I'm not calling KLP for causing that second goal, but we created chances there. We created. It looked like an equalising goal that the referees ruled out. It looked like the ball had gone straight in. Did it look like a foul at the far post to you?
No. I need to watch that one again as well, because I don't understand why that has been disallowed either. But back to the KLP point, that point in the game, that's the turning point, really. We can blame it all we like on last-minute goals being disallowed and extra stoppage not being played when the keeper's gone down for a head injury he didn't even get. He's been told by his own teammates to go down with a head injury, tapping their head. But you can blame all those situations all you like, but bottom line is we had the chances in the game. As you said, with that chance, Worcester's chance, that we could have turned it around, and instead we end up going 2-0 down. We give ourselves a mountain to climb with already exhausted players. They've been playing, most teams play 10 aside, last 30 minutes a game, last 20 minutes of a game. We played a full 90 plus with a man down. I think they played amazing given that circumstance, but we've got no one to blame for ourselves for not taking the chances that we were given.
Look, I listen to you week in, week out on the Beside Pride of West London podcast. You speak a lot of sense. You understand the game. People listen to you and they respect what you think and your observations on the game. Brentford fans are going to be listening to this all the way around the world at the moment, and they're going to be looking at the league table. We're going to be that little bit closer to that bottom three. We know that we have got points deductions, and I hear the crescendo of points deductions. We can't rely on that. That is going to come into it. Well, we can't rely on that at the moment. We have got games coming up against Luton. We've got games against Sheffield United. We've got games that we can pick points up on. Are we going to do this ourselves? Do you think, or are we going to have to rely on others to do this for us? Because, I'm looking around me now at the away end, and there's a lot of angry people. It's Brentford fans being led out here. Some might be arrested. There's moments here where it's causing stress and it's causing grief. Of course, it's our survival at stake here. So are we going to do this ourselves, or are we going to have to expect other people to do this for us?
Well, that's it. You see, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension in the fans. When you're here, you have to be here. You have to be with the fans. You have to be watching the game live to realise that these games aren't going our way, aren't because we're not playing good enough. Yeah, we're making bad decisions in the matches, but we're playing more than good enough to be getting points. We have been hard done by injuries. Again, I've said it in previous weeks. I'm not blaming it on the injuries. But no, we have to take it into our own hands. We can't rely on a thing like a points deduction. I think they mentioned 1st of April, but whether they'll actually do that...
April Fool's Day.
Yeah. So whether they appeal it and then it gets put onto next season. So yeah, bottom line is we can't rely on that. We've got to make sure that we're clear and we're not involved come the end of the season.
I'm going to walk out the ground now. Thank you ever so much for that. It's there is no point in speaking about today anymore. There's no Brentford fan is going to spin this any other way apart from the fact that we walk out of this ground, as I'm walking literally out the ground now, walking past 100 stewards around one Brentford fan who's obviously just been frustrated. And we head all the way back to London now with absolutely no points. It's a game that we were good enough to get something out of still. Some people will be watching this and they'll be saying, yeah, but we got what we deserved. That's your outlook on this. It's a toughie because we're now literally embroiled in looking over our shoulders where we thought we were going to be not looking over our shoulders. I thought it was at least 1 point to be got today, if not the 3. And I think with 11 men on that pitch, we do get something out of it. So it is what it is, as they say. We have to take defeat once again, square on the chin. We have to go into an international break now. We have 2 weeks to go until we play Man United. The good news is that Brian Mbeumo came onto the pitch and he didn't get injured. And the only injury concern was Mads Rosleff, who went off holding his jaw. It looked like it was either a tooth injury or a jaw injury or whatever, but I'll imagine they can patch that up in 2 weeks. I hope he's all right. I hope all the Brentford fans that made the journey up today get home safe and sound. I hope the Brentford fans that listen to this have an enjoyable rest of your weekend. The events in the 90 minutes at Turf Moor will not make you feel good at all today. I walk out of this needing a beer. I feel shit. And I still have every belief that Brentford will be all right this season. I think we might need a favour or two elsewhere. But we will be okay. Come on, you bees. Come on, you Brentford. Come on, you bees.